Welcome to physics class today. We will learn about one of the most important instruments in basic electronics and physics, the cathode ray oscilloscope, commonly known as the CRO from Unit 16. Basic electronics CRO is a fundamental device used for visualizing electronic signals and waveforms cathode ray oscilloscope and its core function. CRO is an electronic test instrument that graphically displays varying signal voltages with respect to time. In simple words, it converts invisible electrical signals into a visible waveform on a screen. This makes it an extremely useful tool for engineers, scientists, technicians, and students who need to study the behavior of electrical circuits and signals. On the CRO screen, the horizontal axis represents time, also called the x-axis, while the vertical axis represents voltage, known as the y-axis. By observing the shape and movement of the waveform on the screen, we can understand how a signal is changing with time and how strong the signal is. The main parts of a CRO include the electron gun, deflection plates, fluorescent screen, and power supply. The electron gun is responsible for producing electrons. The cathode, when heated, emits electrons through a process called thermionic emission. These electrons are then accelerated and focused into a narrow beam by the anode. The deflection plates control the movement of this beam. There are two sets of plates, the vertical deflection plates, which move the beam up and down, the horizontal deflection plates, which move the beam left and right. As voltages are applied to these plates, electric fields are created, and the electron beam is deflected accordingly. The fluorescent screen is coated with a phosphor material. When the high-speed electron beam strikes the phosphor, it emits light, producing a glowing spot. As the beam moves rapidly across the screen, this glowing spot forms a continuous waveform that we can see and analyze. Another important factor is the brightness of the trace. The brightness is controlled by the control grid in the electron gun. If the control grid is made more negative, fewer electrons pass through, and the spot becomes dimmer. If it is less negative, more electrons reach the screen and the spot becomes brighter. This change in brightness happens because a higher number of electrons causes more excitation of the phosphor coating on the screen. Using a CRO, several important electrical quantities can be measured. These include the amplitude of the signal, which is the vertical height of the waveform and represents voltage. The time period of one complete cycle can be measured from the horizontal length of the wave. From the time period, the frequency can be calculated. Phase difference between two signals and DC offset can also be studied using the CRO. The CRO has many practical applications. It is used in electronics troubleshooting, where engineers observe signal distortions and faults in circuits. In telecommunications, it helps analyze modulation and signal quality. In medical diagnostics, CROs have been used to display signals such as ECG and EEG. In audio engineering, they help detect noise and distortion in sound systems. However, the cathode ray oscilloscope also has limitations. It is usually large, heavy, and consumes more power. It also cannot store waveforms permanently unless a camera is used. Very fast signals are sometimes difficult to capture. Today, most CROs have been replaced with digital storage oscilloscopes, or DSOs, which are smaller, faster, and capable of storing and processing data digitally. Even so, the CRO remains one of the most important devices in the history of electronics. Understanding how it works helps us understand how modern oscilloscopes and display technologies have evolved. In conclusion, the cathode ray oscilloscope is an essential instrument that allows us to visualize, measure, and analyze electrical signals in real time. It is a powerful learning tool in physics, electronics, and communication engineering, and its principles form the basis of many modern technologies. I hope you understood the concept of CRO.